Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the El Cajon City Council meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll, please. Thanks. I'm not sure your microphone's working. We're honored to have Joan Shoemaker, the former mayor of El Cajon, here in the audience. Mayor Shoemaker, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And after the pledge, we'll remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Right there. There's a microphone.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the June 26, 2018 meeting and the agenda of the July 10th, 2018 meeting in accordance with state law and council authority successor agencies of the redevelopment agency policy. Today we have one presentation for Parks and Recreation Month. Frank Carson, the Recreation Director, is here, and he'll tell us all about this. Hi, Frank.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me here. I'll be showing a brief video in just a moment. I just want to introduce the July's Parks and Recreation Month to the Council and as well as everybody here at the Council meeting. In El Cajon, we do have 17 parks, 6 recreation facilities, 1 pool, and we maintain about 120 acres. I don't want to steal Monica's thunder. She's going to come up in just a minute after the video and read the proclamation. A few things about Parks and Recreation. If you don't know, here in El Cajon, we try to make our recreation centers universal facilities. So we may have anything from tiny tots to pickleball, and we just started pickleball at Bostonia. Over 40 people regularly on a weekly basis participate in that. We have things as far as fencing, and we also offer free health and human services nutrition classes from the County of San Diego. Something we introduced this year also in March was the Rec Squad at Wells Park to help offer diversionary activities in Wells Park, show some positive presence in the park, and we're there 3 to 4 times a week, 4 hours a day with that. One other thing is that studies do show that with every active recreation piece you have in a park, crime decreases by 17%. So we want to keep on growing with our park amenities and also adding those active recreation pieces that people will want to use. July is recognized as Parks and Recreation Month from the National Recreational Park Association. This year's theme is a lifetime of discovery. So I decided to make a little Google search story where we're discovering El Cajon Parks and Recreation. So everybody's eyes on the screen. Let's try it out. All right. I'm going to invite Monica Zeck to come up and read the proclamation, and to accept the proclamation this year, we're going to also have our newly promoted Parks and Recreation staff. We have Brian Schneider, the new crew leader, promoted from Parks, come on down, as well as Dante Daniels and Tim O'Malia, the newly promoted Assistant Recreation Services Supervisors.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. This is the proclamation that July is Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas July is National Parks and Recreation Month, Parks and Recreation make lives and communities better, not only in July, but all year long. Parks and Recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide inclusion, recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all residents. The Public Works and Recreation Departments call upon all El Cajon residents to fully utilize and enjoy their local park, trails, open space, facilities, and recreation opportunities, as you just saw. And whereas each month over 100,000 patrons visit our local parks and recreation facilities in El Cajon, our parks team assures a clean, beautiful, and safe setting for you to enjoy with your family. The recreation staff is committed to deliver on their promise to develop youth, support families, and provide safe places. Parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and, as you heard, crime reduction. And whereas in celebration of Parks and Recreation Month, we invite you to join the City of El Cajon in observance of July is Parks and Recreation Month by visiting a local park or participating in any one of the outstanding programs. This year, the National Recreation and Park Association theme is a lifetime of discovery through summer camp, a youth sports league, exploring a trail, pickleball, meeting friends on the playground, picnicking in the park, or discovering nature. Parks and play go hand in hand. Now, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, to hereby proclaim the month of July 2018 to be Parks and Recreation Month in the City of El Cajon. Signed this 10th day of July, 2018.
Thank you, Monica. Who's accepting the award here? Let's say just a few words. It could be just. Thank you, appreciate it. All right, that's a few words. Thanks very much. All right, agenda changes. Staff, do you have any agenda changes?
Mr. Mayor, we have no changes.
Council? No. All right, we are now at consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or a person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council, do you wish to pull any consent items? Staff? Angela, do we have any speaker cards for consent items?
We have no cards, sir.
I'd like to make a motion then to approve the consent items.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
That brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, or successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items that are not on the agenda. However, Council, Authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Angela, do we have any cards under public comment?
We have 14 cards today, and the first speaker is Paul Cruz.
Mr. Cruz, welcome.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, members of the El Cajon City Council, thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to be directing my comments directly to you, Mr. Colascio. I respectfully ask that you pay close attention to me rather than playing with your electronic devices as you are infamously known to do. After 1 year, I am finally able to have a face-to-face communication with you without you scurrying off the dais when I ask for comments and interviews, you posting insulting and derogatory tweets about me, and posting online terroristic threats against me and my colleagues of the San Diego news media, or threatening me with a potentially lethal barking and snarling weapon at the end of a short leash ready to be released with my back turned. Simply put, Ben, you are a coward. Amen. You truly are the biggest coward I have ever met in my entire life. The last straw was when you attempted to assault me with your dog Zoltan at Parkway Plaza at night some 2 weeks ago. This is a dog which you have advertised on social media as being trained as an attack dog. A beautiful animal which you are ruining and trying so hard to turn into a vicious animal. You openly incited your Facebook followers to come harass me, stalk me, and to kill me with a .357 caliber bullet. And like a coward, you published online the license plate on my car and other private information about me. Ben, I met you for the very first time some 7 years ago when I was an active member of the Citizens Committee out to preserve the East County Performing Arts Center. You had me fooled, just as you had the voters fooled. Since then, I have seen your true colors, and those colors truly are not pretty. I have witnessed you insulting a most esteemed member of this community and City Council, Bob McClellan. I have also seen you waste over $4,000 in taxpayer dollars when you refused to recuse yourself from a conflict of interest, forcing a revote. All this because you accepted a private donation from a City of El Cajon vendor, yet you turned your back and refused to approve a meager 2.5% living increase for hardworking City of El Cajon employees. You glorify and attempt to emulate gangsters, the type who preen their hair while flitting a cigar like some wannabe sophisticate. Your lack of ethics corroborates this image. You are deluding yourself into thinking that you can be a future mayor of El Cajon come November.
Paul.
The citizens of the city know that you are a sexual harasser
Paul.
and that you threaten people.
Mr. Cruz?
If
I'm sorry to cut you off. Because of the situation, and so many people want to speak today, I'm going to have to stick to the...
I would, after what I went through, I am requesting 2 more minutes, please.
I can't give you 2 minutes. If you could wrap it up, though, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. The time now, Mr. Colascio, Ben Colascio, Besmon, whoever you are, resign now. Should you choose not to resign, I will continue my work as a seasoned professional journalist reporting your action as a member of the El Cajon City Council with honesty, objectivity, fairness, and integrity. Ben Colascio, resign now. You do not represent the good people, the good citizens of the city of El Cajon.
So, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes things get kind of volatile in council chambers, and I'm going to uphold the time limits tonight pretty strictly. Get your 3 minutes, and then when the light turns red, I appreciate if you would wrap it up. Thanks.
Next speaker is Miriam Rafferty.
Hi, Miriam. Welcome.
Thank you. Many of you know I'm the editor at East County Magazine, and Paul is one of our reporters. John Adams warned that freedom of the press can provoke resentment and revenge by officials whom the press covers. Thomas Jefferson said our liberty depends on freedom of the press, so our founding fathers made it a constitutionally protected right. But now Councilman Ben Colascio has been abusing his power, seeking revenge against the media for truthful reporting on his unethical conduct. He has waged harassment, defamation, and threats against us and others, using social media as a weapon and even threatening our reporter with an attack dog, as you've heard. As a journalist, my responsibility is to assure the public knows the truth. So today, I feel compelled to put a statement in the public record. Superior Court Judge Timothy Taylor has issued a final order finding evidence provided by plaintiffs suing Councilman Colascio to be true facts. The judge ruled it true that Ben Colascio sexually harassed beauty pageant contestants, offered to trade sex for the crown, and engaged in a pattern of defaming people, along with his wife. The court found the Colascios conspired to post fake photos of a young beauty contestant face on other women's nude bodies. When a taco shop owner refused to post Colascio's campaign signs, he created many fake IDs, according to the court, to smear the taco shop owner and claim it caused food poisoning. A jury previously found Colascio committed fraud, stating he never saw a vehicle at his car wash damage property, but video showed it did. These facts tell you about his credibility. As for ours, we've won over 105 major journalism awards, including top awards from Press Club and Society of Professional Journalists. Now, during his campaign, Mr. Colascio had no criticism of our reporting. He even asked us to co-moderate a candidate forum. He had no issues with our coverage when the news was positive about his town halls and other things. But as his legal and ethical issues grew and we reported them, he began attacking us. He also attacked Pulitzer Prize winning Union Tribune reporter Jeff McDonald, whose reporting helped put Congressman Randy Duke Cunningham in prison for bribery. Colascio called McDonald a troll and a fake journalist and posted negative info on his wife. For months, he's made malicious claims he knew were false on his social media about me personally, East County Magazine, and Paul. Let me set the record straight. Colascio claimed we're not a real nonprofit, but our parent nonprofit, Heartland Coalition, started helping Cedar Fire victims, and their tax ID and filings are all on GuideStar. Ironically, our reporting helped result in the state revoking Colascio's nonprofit status of his pageant. He's claimed we lied about readership levels to get sponsors that were bankrupt, not paying people, and crudely impugned my virtue. This is all false, and he's refused to publish any proof we sent him. You heard about his retaliation, calling for the murder of a journalist. Allowing posts on there inciting the murder of a journalist is unconscionable. And 2 days later, 5 people were killed at a Maryland newspaper by a mass shooter who resented journalists reporting his harassment. Now, Facebook took those posts down, but there are more up there now. He's never disputed accuracy of any articles.
And yet need to remind you we're at the
May I have
red light.
about 15 seconds, please?
Certainly.
Thank you. Threatened to sue us for libel. A similar suit he filed against others was thrown out as a slap suit that the judge said was meant to intimidate the plaintiffs. Now, others on this council have always been courteous and respectful regardless of the coverage, whether controversial or not, knowing over time our coverage was fair. We will not be silenced, and we encourage all others who have been victimized to speak out and tell the truth, too. Other councils have censured members for far less, and certainly the public has the power in the voting booth to address this issue. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sunshine Horton.
Hi, Sunshine. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. I'm going to talk about a very, very higher authority. I'm grateful to come to America and be adopted by this country. And I hope I can read it real fast. It says, Lord, forgive me for the sin of indifference and put me to work, help those less fortunate than I. Then God taught me, dear Lord, make me sensitive to the pain of other people's heart, and help me do whatever I can to ease their pain. The other one is, oh boy, let me not be self-centered. Lord, fill me with the desire to think of others and to help them in whatever I'm able to. The other one is, Lord, as I reach out to you, I know you will take my hand and give me the courage to face another day, another day's concern. Amen. And the other one is, Father, when I've been hurt, help me not to be vindictive. In return, teach me to forgive as you so often forgive me, because I do believe in God. I believe in all this that I've been reading, because I was a poor person in Tijuana, but we came here and I was faithful to God in many ways that now I own my second house. And God gave it to me because I got it in 2 weeks. And my friend, because of her father and mother going away, which is the Stonies, she gave me beautiful furniture for my dining room and bedroom. And I got all kinds of Degrassi statues and everything. God takes care of good people. Somehow, Mr. Colascio, God is going to take care of you, and I'll be there to laugh. Thank you.
Zachary Wickholm.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Afternoon. I don't have any notes prepared, but I just want to say real quick. I've been in San Diego my whole life. I've been around East County my whole life, and I grew up knowing that El Cajon was a community of people. It was mom and pop shops. It was people who would go and talk to news people who you'd feel free walking up to anybody on the street and saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Reading some of the stories that I've read over the last couple weeks about Councilman Colascio, it's stirred up something great in me. As someone who enjoys being a photographer, who likes going to events and taking pictures of people that I respect or people who I want to talk to, knowing that people who are like me were threatened by someone in power has made me very angry. There's so many things that are better ways to respond to any type of provocation, and we expect that from our leaders. El Cajon has always done the right thing when faced with trouble. I'm asking you now, do the right thing.
Bonnie Price. Miss Price.
Hi, Bonnie. Welcome.
Hi. Today I want to talk to you about the refugee asylum seeker issue at 1160 Broadway. And I was very pleased on my way here. I drove past a church that said, "Immigrants and refugees welcome here." I think in El Cajon we have a blot on our conscience. We have an internment camp of children, and I have learned from several sources who are monitoring the site every day what is going on from their ability to observe outside, and I would like to see the city take whatever action is possible to oversee what's going on. I learned today that the camp, which has asylees, that is asylum seekers who have an international protected right to seek freedom from fear and actual danger of their lives. This installation or camp has now introduced young girls into a facility that first housed gang members and secondly little boys. On July 4th, when everybody was busy, alert residents saw them driving in a van full of little girls. This is troublesome, and we don't know what is going on in there with these kids. We need to have a public hearing to deal with this issue because people are troubled. People don't drive all the way from Alpine down to check on what's happening today because they aren't concerned. And local citizens in El Cajon are going over there every day and sharing information with the region visitors. We need to know, does the charter of the city allow you to send inspectors to make sure these kids are okay? I know the general law city might be different, but you adopted a charter city status. Is there a way to monitor what's going on?
Thanks, Bonnie. I am going to pass this on to staff today. Staff, if you could explain what the land use rights we have, what the zoning rights we have, and what inspection rights we might have
Certainly.
in regard to this.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this property used to be controlled with a conditional use permit. In 2015, when Southwest Keys took over the property, that conditional use permit no longer applied because it's a residentially zoned property. State law allows this type of use to occur by right. So we have no land use rights in terms of shutting it down or regulating it from a land use perspective. Second, this is properties regulated by the federal government through a government contract. And it's my understanding that Health and Human Services is the one that specifically provides that oversight. It's an area of purview that the city does not have.
About in regard to inspections and similar type of situations.
I don't know what right we would have to do that, and I don't know what we would be inspecting. And if we saw something, I don't know how we would deal with it since it's being regulated by another government agency.
So, Bonnie, I think your options are the same as our options. If you wanted to file suit with the federal government in response, I don't think we would have any more standing than you would have in this instance.
I see. So a lawsuit is your answer. Would it be possible to have a public hearing so we could find out who else is interested in overseeing this and maybe joining suit against the federal government?
Well, I don't think we have any authority in regard to a public hearing with this government facility. Graham, am I wrong on this?
Mr. Mayor, in my mind, this is a federal government issue. We have no purview from a land use perspective.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that your complaints are without merit. I don't know, but it would be like us going and regulating something at Miramar Air Base at this point. We don't have the authority.
Okay, well, that's a very, very sad situation that we could have something like this. I feel like we're in a situation like the Germans in the instance where the people were interned there, and we had the Holocaust. I have no faith at all that they're taking good care of these people. None. Thank you.
You might want to talk to Susan Davis. She actually went and interviewed or toured the facility. I haven't heard anything from her office yet. She might make a statement. Because I imagine if she had seen some kind of abuses, she would have reported that.
Well, I have talked with her, and I urged her to visit every single one in her district, every site, any internment site, because someone has to look out for these kids. And I just don't trust the authorities. Even the van driver who brought in the girls on July 4th brought over a civilian who was standing there watching, whom he recognized and said, "Today I brought in little girls." Like, help, help. We've got to do something about this.
I would think Congresswoman Davis would be a good place to start.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Taylor Abil.
Mr. Beal, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm here to speak to Mr. Colacio. As a citizen of El Cajon and a local small business owner, I would like to thank you for your willingness to serve on this council as a representative of our city. I recognize that you've most likely faced many challenges in your term in efforts to improve the well-being of citizens in our city, and I respect your tenacity and perseverance. However, in light of your public behavior since your election to this office, I do believe it is time for you to step down. Recently on NBC7, in defense of your actions and statements regarding La Mesa City Council member Christine Alessio's remarks about you, you said, "Actions have consequences, and you can't just go around willy-nilly saying whatever you want about people without having the facts." I happen to agree that it is facts and not mere speculation that truly matter. Although the reprehensible accusations I have heard leveled against you are many, coming from multiple news outlets, fellow citizens, and city leaders, I'll stick to a few that we know to be facts. On October 6, 2018, Superior Court Judge Timothy Taylor issued a tentative ruling that the following facts are true. You and those you were involved with created fake nude photos of Miss Middle East pageant Queen Salah Tafiq and published them online, intending to cause and causing Miss Tafiq severe emotional distress. You propositioned pageant contestant Paris Kargar offering sex in exchange to ensure she won the 2016 Miss Middle East pageant. You made statements indicating her declining this proposition cost her a fair shot at the title. You whispered in Kargar's ear, "You are so effing hot, I cannot take my eyes off you." You also made comments about her breasts jiggling as she walked down the runway. You and those you were involved with created multiple alias Facebook profiles used to make defamatory posts against Trace Taqueria, including fabricated poll results and false claims of food poisoning after the restaurant owner refused to post Kalasho campaign signs. Several years ago, you said in an interview with Scouting Santee, "I would like people to know that Ben Kalasho is a person who has ethics, that Ben Kalasho built his business on hard work and integrity. I would like to know by what standard of ethics or definition of integrity you believe this sort of behavior is acceptable for a public leader. In light of these facts just stated, as well as your public behavior on social media and elsewhere, I do not believe you are fit to make ethical decisions on behalf of the citizens of our city, and I hereby publicly call for your resignation." Before I finish, I would like to remind us all that we risk our rights and freedom we hold dear in compromising our moral integrity. In the words of the famed statesman Edmund Burke, "Men are qualified for civil liberty in exact proportion to their disposition to put moral chains upon their own appetites, in proportion as their love to justice is above their rapacity, in proportion as their soundness and sobriety of understanding is above their vanity and presumption, in proportion as they are more disposed to listen to the counsels of the wise and good, in preference to the flattery of knaves. Society cannot exist unless a controlling power upon will and appetite be placed somewhere, and the less of it there is within, the more there must be without. It is ordained in the eternal constitution of things that men of intemperate minds cannot be free. Their passions forge their fetters." Thank you.
Thanks.
Nathan Cornett.
Hi, Nathan. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Mayor, council, staff, thank you very much for the hard work that you all do for our city. It's often forgotten, ignored, overlooked. The work that you do for our city week in and week out on a nearly volunteer salary is exemplary. And because of your dedication to excellence, ethical excellence, and commitment to servant leadership, our city is what it is and continues to improve year after year. The issue that I am here to discuss is the unethical and illegal activities of Ben Kalasho. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is a bipartisan issue of ethics and commitment to the rule of law that appears to evade our city councilman. I have stood here before and requested your resignation, Ben. I'm here again to request your resignation for the following reasons. As reported by the Union Tribune, East County Magazine, and the LA Times, your attempt to bully and intimidate those who disagree with you. This kind of political game is not welcome in our city, and I believe you are a coward. Your mistreatment of women, attempting to prey on the women in the Miss Middle Eastern pageant, exerting your power to attempt to gain sexual advantages, this qualifies as a sex predator. The cases of fraud brought against you, the past cases of fraud that you were found liable in, the proven use of your home IP address in fake social media posts and defamation of businesses that would not hang your political signs, the connection to the IP address associated with the creation of revenge porn, which under deposition your wife admitted to being present at the location of the IP address when the images were created. The complete lack of respect for our legal system by attempting to hide assets, presumably in pretense of losing them, and not showing up for court appearances. There are many other reasons that I feel that you should resign, but I will limit it to the previous 7 for the sake of time. Recently you tweeted, "Losers focus on winners and winners focus on winning." But at what cost? To what end? Do the ends justify the means? Do you get to skirt the law in order to win? Do you get to prey on women in your pageant to win in bed? I hate to break it to you, but you are not a winner. You are a coward. For the sake of our city, please resign your position and allow us to move forward. The community and the citizens of El Cajon deserve better. Thank you.
We are halfway. We have 7 more speakers, and the next speaker is Heather Friedman.
Ms. Freeman, welcome.
Hello.
Pull that down so we can hear you.
Oh, yeah, I'm a short person.
Yeah, it's okay.
I have never spoken at a city council meeting before, and I wasn't here to speak about Ben Kalasho, but I'm shocked at what I hear. Anyway, the reason I'm here is because David Chenoweth sent me an email about this facility, supposedly unknown facility on Broadway. And you folks are in power. You have a certain amount of power. And it has become my observation from Canada originally, but it's become my observation in this country that people in power don't really care about ordinary people who don't have any power. And I just heard you before saying there's nothing you can do, nothing you can do. Don't you care about children? My concern is that, first of all, I'm totally against ripping children from immigrants in the first place. I mean, I won't even get into that. However, if these children are in this place, and if they're bringing a lot of girls in a van, which that concerns me for another reason, you have got to find a way. I don't care what you do, but you have to have it in your hearts to be able to find out, are there children in there? Are they being taken care of? And I'm not talking about, like, I do some dog sitting and cat sitting. I don't just go and feed the cat or feed the dog. I sit there. I hug them. I kiss them on their little noses and so forth. These children, if they're ripped from their parents, they have to be taken care of and loved. I'm against them being taken from the parents in the first place. But you have to find out what's going on in there. Do I make myself clear? Thank you.
Jim Sitigliano.
Mr. Mayor, council, staff, I didn't know this was going to be the Ben Kalasho hour here today, but Mr. Kalasho has been nothing but supportive as far as our issues with our rent mediation and supporting us and willing to learn. And excuse me just for a moment, I'd like for everyone to look at this here in the order. If you care anything about affordable housing or rent control, and I'm going to turn this sign around. This is something that's going to be on the November ballot, the state ballot. And we're trying to repeal this. If you care at all about affordable housing or rent control, do your homework, Google it, and find out for yourself. And Mr. Mayor, just an update about our rent mediation process. I just received an email this afternoon from Tony Shute of the Community Development Department. They've been stalling again. Now, in his email, he said that if they don't, within the next few days, do something with the American Arbitration Association out of Fresno, he was going to take a step. And of course, we'd like to get involved with City Manager Graham Mitchell about addressing our next step and perhaps having a meeting with him. And just real quickly, someone was speaking to me about how humble they were this week. They happened to be politically involved. And I questioned them only because I didn't feel that they were really humble. And the reason for that is because, humility and telling the truth are inseparable. And I think that's something for all of us to consider, okay? And I find that a lot of these people that talk about being humble, they more or less are believing their own BS. And that's what happens to a lot of politicians. And then just real quickly, just as a reminder again, Mr. Mayor, the Form 700 and 460, I still feel that they should be on the City Council website. That's true transparency, not having to run all over the city or requesting from the city clerk and waiting to receive this information, especially once people are declaring their office that they may be running for. This is a critical time for this. And it'd be a great service and save the city a lot of money also. And again, seniors vote. And you know I'm representing the mobile home manufactured parks about rent mediation with the city of El Cajon. I thank you for your time again. Okay?
Thank you.
David Chenoweth.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and our City Council. I want to express my gratitude to you. I took a look at our meeting last week. I realized I owe this chamber 9 minutes and 15 seconds. I'll try to pay my debt off either in silence or expression, whichever you prefer. Under the leadership of Donald J. Trump, our U.S. immigration and customs enforcement strategy was weaponized with the deterrent tactic of family separation. Family separation is a human rights violation. While assaulting the general law powers of local governments like the city of El Cajon, the Office of Refugee Resettlement secretly established 100 internment facilities across our country. As of last night, I believe we know the location of 74 of those facilities. ICE uses these internment facilities to incarcerate its victims of family separation. On June 15 of this year, I witnessed two 5 to 6 year old boys, not taller than 36 inches or lower than my waist. It's cheating a little bit. It's exactly 36 inches. They were running through a game of soccer in the activity yard at the SWK facility on 1160 Broadway. In my heart, I wondered, are these victims of family separation? The public has an overriding right and a need to know whether or not victims of family separation are or have been incarcerated at this Southwest Keys facility. If so, the public has an overriding right and need to know the welfare of those victims and when they will be reunited with their families. The public also has an overwhelming right and a need to know how the Office of Refugee Resettlement, how Southwest Keys Programs, Inc., how Torrey Pines Capital, LLC, managed to establish this facility under bureaucratic darkness without public review. I object to the idea that we would give up our local powers because somebody says so. In addition, we've got the right to find out exactly how we lost those public powers because we're not getting them back. I can guarantee you that. Therefore, I'd respectfully request that our City Council place on its council agenda a public hearing or calendar an advisory meeting for the purpose of providing the public with a transparent overview of this matter. I also want to say that when I was a young boy, at 2.5, I was abandoned in a deserted chicken coop. I've lived with the results of family separation my whole life. And the idea that we are powerless to reach out to those children and provide them the comfort and care they need is simply not acceptable to me. And I don't believe it's acceptable to most of the citizens of El Cajon. I couldn't pay back any time, but I'm going to try real hard to. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Phil Ortiz.
Hi, Phil. Welcome.
Hello. Honorable Mayor, Councilman, City staff, I want to commend you and thank most of you for your leadership that often goes unnoticed, unappreciated. You are successfully guiding El Cajon in a positive direction, and I can tell you that the residents of this city are pleased. What I can also say is that the residents of El Cajon want Ben Colascio to resign immediately. Your actions on this council, Ben, and inside and outside of these council chambers are unfit for leadership. I'm going to give you an example. I sat here in this council chambers a couple months ago and watched it as a citizen came to this podium and began to state legitimate concerns about your conduct. And within 30 seconds of him speaking, you stopped him and you attempted to silence him through the city attorney, asking him to restrict his comments to only city matters. And I want to thank City Attorney Mr. Foley for defending free speech of the people you're supposed to represent. You have objectified women and attempted to take advantage of them in your pageant without remorse, attempted to ruin local business with fake social media accounts. You have insulted and burned bridges with local leaders and elected officials, sparking disunity, when East County has been known for decades for unity. Your campaign slogan says, "Because the establishment hates me." Well, I want to define what the establishment is for you, Ben. The establishment are the people who have lived in El Cajon their entire lives, who sacrifice their time to better their city and their community, who give their money to organizations that help their neighbors. They're educators, journalists, pastors, faith leaders, parents, coaches, business owners, everyday citizens. These are the people that have invested their entire lives into El Cajon and don't want to see it torn down by your actions you have displayed repeatedly. And hate is a strong word, Ben. No one hates you. They disapprove of you and your leadership. These people disapprove of you. Therefore, you must resign immediately. And I want to ask, and I'm calling for the city council to create a code of conduct for elected officials that each of you will abide by in hopes that this will curb situations like this in the future. And if you need suggestions for that code of conduct, I have plenty of outlines. Thank you very much for your time.
We have 3 more speakers, and the next one is Justin Schleif. I'm sorry. Please state your last name for us.
You can't pronounce it, it's probably me. Last name is Slafley. Thank you.
Welcome, Justin.
Mayor and the members of the council, it is my unhappy duty to speak today about the shocking and unacceptable conduct of one of the members of this body. My family has a proud history in East County. My grandparents, in fact, chose El Cajon to settle. Of all the places in the country, moving here from Iowa, chose to settle in El Cajon after World War II when my grandfather was discharged from the Navy. My mom grew up in El Cajon and always talked fondly of her time in this city. I have my own fond memories of El Cajon growing up. And although I now live in Santee, California, I have many friends who are proud citizens of El Cajon. I've always looked at this city as part of what is best about East County. And in choosing to live in East County with my family and my daughter growing up, I look at El Cajon as one of the cities that is emblematic of what is best. Unfortunately, El Cajon is now becoming famous for another reason. San Diego had its time in the national spotlight with Filthy Filner. El Cajon is now known for Crooked Colascio. It has become quite a topic of conversation and embarrassment for my friends in El Cajon. According to credible news reports, and many of the speakers today have mentioned all the allegations as well as court records, Mr. Colascio has bullied businesses and individuals, been accused of bogus property filings, has allegations of attempted assault, and faces allegations of fraud. Perhaps even more disturbing are the reports of intimidation and coercion related to the Miss Middle East pageant. Quite simply, this is unacceptable. This behavior and these actions are repugnant and reprehensible. The downright abusive behavior continues into the public sphere with well-known attacks on a La Mesa city councilwoman. El Cajon citizens, quite frankly, expect more. East County residents are wondering when El Cajon will clean house. Comparisons to Crooked Colascio have become the worst insult in East County. And Mr. Colascio, I want to say, if you like Photoshop, there's a great photo back here. In the end, Bob Filner resigned, and deservedly so. His behavior caught up to him, and the public could no longer ignore it. I hope that Mr. Colascio will have the grace to resign, and he will make amends to those he has wronged. I am not here today for excuses, explanations, or insults. I'm here to support my many friends in El Cajon who couldn't be here today and to demand a resignation. Thank you.
Christina Park.
Well, Ms. Park, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Wells, and thank you, Council, for letting me address you today. My name is Christina Park. I'm the owner of a business here in El Cajon named By Taxes by Design. My firm has been located in the city of El Cajon since 2005 in various locations, but I've also been a citizen of El Cajon off and on over the last 25, 30 years, and currently do live in Lakeside, but I spend more of my waking hours in El Cajon than I do at my own home, especially during tax season. I suffer from the problems of the homeless. I suffer from the problems of the crime in this city. And this city council has direct impact on the money that I make to feed my family. I have stood before you before. As you've seen me, I was the one who said we should name 2nd Street Liquor Lane or Alcohol Alley if we didn't take care of the alcohol problem. I am very disgusted and dismayed by the actions of Mr. Calascio. I know everybody's brought up a lot of things today, and I'm not going to dispute anyone. They all know they're true. And I see you smirking, Ben. And we've had conversations in the past, and you have no respect for anyone. Not even me. Not when you asked my nonprofit organization that I'm affiliate of to support you in a campaign when I explained that we could not do that. As a tax professional with 36 years of experience, I'm extremely dismayed that Mr. Calascio could not choose to follow the laws of the state of California, therefore losing his tax-exempt status for his organization for the Miss Middle East Pageant Organization, thus affecting women who could have benefited from this. I'm dismayed and disgusted by his actions towards these women. As a business owner, I would like to think that we have city council members that affect me and my business and the other business people in here who want to follow the laws of our city, our county, our state, and our nation. Mr. Calascio has shown that he does not intend to do so. He files retaliatory suits. He treats women with disrespect. As a woman and a survivor of sexual misconduct and harassment myself, when I read and understood and people explained to me what happened, I was disgusted and dismayed. And it made me sad. No one knows except a victim of sexual harassment how hard it is to recover from that. And I really feel for these women. And the last thing I want to say is that, you know, Ben, I would appreciate if you'd look at me in the eye. When you ran on the slogan, "It's about time." I want to say it's about time for what? For junior high antics or kindergarten politics? If you really care about the city of El Cajon, resign.
Our last speaker is Tony Sotile.
Hi, Tony. Welcome. Thank you.
I come here with a heavy heart. I've been here before speaking regarding the antics of Ben Calascio, and I'm not going to reiterate them. Hate is lawlessness and disobedience. Love is law in action. And repentance is a gift from God. And I pray that God will give you that gift, because it doesn't come naturally. It comes from Him and from Him only. In the beginning, when I saw your YouTube videos, I was disheartened, in which you were claiming to be in a higher standard than the rest of the city council. Instead of working together, it was Ben Calascio against the city council. You were elected to be a trustee of the people. And as a trustee of the people, you need to exude trust. Trust within your own council members, trust with the people that you have dealings with, trust in the business community, and trust to the people at large. And this trust is no longer there. And if you are a moral man, you will consider all the words that you heard here this evening, and would strongly consider resigning from the city council. Because what you get paid here is really not that much. and also the defense of defending yourself on all these lawsuits that are before you is going to take up your time. So you will not be able to serve the city as you ought to serve the city. And you said in my appointment during the Planning Commission, I fear that it is business as usual. Ben, what is business as usual? Are you denoting that the business of the El Cajon is illegal, that they're doing things which are illegal? You just throw out accusations out there, you make innuendos without any evidence whatsoever. I pray that the Spirit of God would be upon you, because if the Spirit of God is not upon you, His judgment is upon you. And I pray that you would resign. Thank you.
No more speakers.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we'll come back and continue the rest of the meeting. Thank you. We can all bring the meeting back to order, please. I appreciate it. All right, there are no public hearings and no administrative reports on today's agenda. There are no commission reports. Item 8 is my activities report. It is as reported. There's nothing to report on the legislative update at this time. And we are now at activity reports for council members. Mayor Pro Tem Gary Kendrick.
As reported.
Council Member Bob McClellan is not here today. Council Member Ben Colascio. Council Member Steve Goebel.
My button sticks, too. I'd like to invite everybody to this year's beauty pageant. It's on the 22nd. It is sold out, though. But I'd like to, welcome everybody that came and spent the money making signs. I'm glad you guys think about me all the time and keep making me famous.
All right, Council Member Goebel.
As reported.
All right, there are no joint council member reports. There are no general information items for discussion. There are no first or second readings of ordinances today and no closed session items. And if I had realized it was going to be this fast, I wouldn't have taken a break. But this brings us to adjournment. The regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority successor agency, the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 10th day of July 2018, is adjourned until Tuesday, July 24th, 2018 at 3 o'clock p.m. Thank you very much. That was it.